Hello, Bleaklow, Mountain Hares, round 2. Hi and welcome to this week's video. Anybody who doesn't know, I came up here about 3 weeks ago to take some images of mountain hares in the snow, which are images that I'd never taken before. Rouse, he agrees. And I had a bit of a disaster really. I had a blizzard on the top. They hadn't given out much snow for that day. It was supposed to be a calmer day between 2 storms. It didn't really work out like that. So I had a blizzard on the top. It was a complete whiteout. Fell into a metre deep snowdrift and had to dig myself out. And I just couldn't get anywhere near the hares. Now, when I went back home, bearing in mind I've taken images of hares up here hundreds of times before and never had a real problem. So I just couldn't understand what I'd done wrong. I worked out wind direction, all that sort of stuff that I normally do, but it just wasn't happening. So I went away and thought, I want to go and have another go, which is why I'm back today. Unfortunately, a lot of the snow's gone. In fact, most of the snow's gone. There's still some pretty big drifts in areas, but you know, the main covering of snow's melted. It's pretty nice up here. I'm not going to get images of hares in the snow, which means I'm probably going to have to do a part 3 to this video, which may now be next winter. We may not get any more snow. I parked up. One of the reasons I thought I may have failed last time, well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that I'd never shot hares in the snow before, and although I didn't perceive that as a problem, I parked where I normally park and I walked to where I normally walk. Now, that might not sound, you know, that's probably what you should do, but when you take into account there's a lot of snow on the floor, that walk that normally takes so much energy takes 2 or 3 times as much energy when you're trying to plough your way through snow. And I think what had happened, one of the problems was I'd exhausted myself so much getting to where the hares were that when I got there, what happens is, and I think probably the best way to, if you think about it, is if you do a really long walk, when you first start out, you're hopping around muddy areas, you know, hopping onto rocks to keep out of the way. If you're tired, you start just walking straight through that stuff, and that's the feeling I got when I was trying to take pictures of the hares. Now the problem is with this type of photography, you've really got to be on the ball, because you'll see a hare, it might be 100 yards away, and then you've got to work your way into a position now to get an image of that hare, because it's obviously too far away even with a long lens. And because I was tired, I think what I was doing, I was spotting the hares too late because my concentration levels were down because I was tired, and B, I just wasn't paying enough attention to get into a decent position. I wasn't quiet enough, you know, I wasn't working my route out well enough. So all those things really, I think, combined. So what I've done this time, there's actually 2 areas where I normally see hares on here that are good for hares. There's one that's lower down and there's one on the top. So what I've done this time, instead of going all the way to the top, I've gone to the first area, which isn't normally as good. There's not normally as many hares, but what I'm thinking is I'm not going to be as tired, so therefore I'm going to have a better chance of getting into a decent position while I'm fresh. So anyway, that's the plan. It's been quite weird already today. Actually, it made my day. You sometimes think when you're doing this sort of thing that you're a bit of a nutter, and yeah, there's only you who do something like that. But I pulled into where I was going to park, and there was this guy walking down off Bleaklow, and I said hello to him as he got back to his car, and he said hello, and he got this really weird rucksack on his back, and he could see me looking at it, and he said, "Oh, I've just been up on Bleaklow playing my French horn." Yeah, playing his French horn. I said, "Oh wait, yeah, that must be, you know, is it that bad? You know, the sound you're getting at?" He said, "Oh no." He said, "It's just that when you get stuck on a part and you have to play it over and over again, it tends to annoy people." So he'd driven to Bleaklow, walked out onto the moor, and he was playing his French horn, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Maybe I should play French horn. Maybe I could get a French horn actually. Yeah? Anyway, back to the point at hand. I'm going to go and see if I can get some images now. There's also obviously red grouse up here, so if I can get any pictures of those I will as well, and some film. And there are also some golden plover as well around, I've heard, so yeah, it should be pretty good. I'm feeling pretty fresh, I'm not knackered, so that's a good start, and yeah, I'll see you later. Right, I've literally got a mountain hare. It's probably about 30-40 yards away, and what I've done, I'll just put my camera down. What I've done, I've worked my way into this position. As you'll see, I've taken my camera bag off, because this next section is going to be basically crawling and trying to get into a position to get a shot. So what I tend to do is I'll work my way around with my bag, trying to keep down and out of sight. It's quite difficult, because what can happen is you can lose sight of where you saw the hare, because it all looks pretty samey in front of you. So if you can look at a little landmark that, you know, whether that's a different colour or a post or something, there's the odd post and thing around here, is just to give it a marker so that you know you're keeping going in the right direction. Because what you don't want to do is come round a corner and, you know, oof, it's there. You want to try and make sure you know where it is, so that you're not going to surprise it or yourself. So what I've done, as I say, I've got to this point, I'm about 30-40 yards away, take my bag off, I'm going to leave the camera here now recording, and I'm going to try and crawl over this mound here, as you can see, and then I've got to go round, I think, another one, and then over the next one, and I should be able to get some images and some film. So we'll see what I can do. Right, one of the things I forgot to mention, and I would actually recommend, is, especially for things like mountain hares, but really anything where you're waiting around, excuse me, for a long time, and particularly with hares, because what tends to happen, and you'll see from my footage that I've got today, a lot of the time they don't do a lot. So I've not particularly been able to do that today, to spend as much time as I wanted. If I was just here and I was just taking images, I may well have just, you know, sat there for 2 or 3 hours, laid there on the floor. Now you can imagine the problem with that is, especially if it's cold and very cold and snowy like it is today, you're really going to get problems if you're lying on cold ground. So really make sure that you've got some nice warm clothing. And I think the problem is when you're walking, you might think, oh yeah, you know, I've got enough clothing and I'm hot. But then when you stop, and if you stop for a long time, and if you lay down for a long time, you might find that flipping heck, you soon get really cold. So yeah, I would recommend that you make sure you've got the correct clothing on. It really does help. As I say, I've not been able to lie down for an extended period of time today because I've had to do filming and other stuff, so it's not really been as bad for me, but I still came prepared. Ski jacket on here and about 5 layers underneath, so yeah, we'll crack on. Right, I've actually got a red grouse that's right at the side of the path. It doesn't seem too particularly bothered that I'm here at all, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to crawl along the path and see if I can get some images. If I do, you'll see them now, and I'll see if I can get some film as well. But yeah, occasionally you do get some that don't seem particularly bothered. I'm a lot closer than I'd normally be. He's about 20 yards away, but he doesn't seem concerned at all, so I'm not going to get up from this position. I'm going to put the camera down, the vlogging camera, and I'm just going to crawl along the path here, try and get a bit closer and see if I can get some shots. Right, oh god, look at that, terrible. Right, I'm almost back at the car, and I think I'm going to call it a day for today. Much better than last time, I have to say. Not perfect, I'd still like to have got a little bit closer to the hares and things, but yeah, much better. And I think my conclusion that I came to, that I was just too tired after forcing my way through the snow, is probably right. And today, obviously, with it being much better conditions and not much snow, it's made it a lot easier, and hence I was able to get closer. There will be a part 3 to this when we get hares and snow, which will probably be next winter now, unless we get some more snow and I can get up here before it melts. So anyway, that's me. I'm going to sign off for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and if you've not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel as we race towards 500. And yeah, there'll be more wildlife videos to come, and also some more landscape as well. So see you soon.